This video is brought to you by Miniature Market. Thousands of board games, discounted prices, miniaturemarket.com. Hello my friends, it's the Game Boy Geek here. Today we're going to be grabbing our camera and slapping on our favorite lens. And we're going to be going behind the scenes with all the cameras and mics because we're going to be interviewing two of the creators and cast members of Board with Life, which is a very popular web series about board games, and they're here to talk about their upcoming season 2, which starts in just a few days. So without further ado, let's get to the interview. Hello my friends, it's the Game Boy Geek, and today we got a special treat. I am joined by two of the creators and cast members of Board with Life. I'm joined by Casey Bartow.
Hello.
Casey's the man. And we also got Donald Schultz.
Hello.
So cool. So for you guys that are living under a rock and are in the board game world and have not yet heard of these guys, why don't you guys just tell me a little bit and your little elevator pitch of who is Board with Life and what is it?
Donald.
Oh, yeah, you're right to throw it to me because I have a great explanation for this. We make a comedy web series called Board with Life, which is about a board game group that meets weekly, and they're not exactly friends. They're friendly. They're kind of a circle of friends, but things don't go great all the time, and they're sort of learning to get along, I guess, is the premise of the show. So the way that most sitcoms take place at always at a diner or a bar, ours end up at a table around a board game, and the theme of the board game often is like sort of the theme of the like conflict within the characters' lives. That's I think almost an elevator pitch.
Now you mentioned sitcom. Now they have completed season 1, and one of the many things you guys did, which I loved, were these bits, right? I think there were over 40 of them that you guys produced, and some other content within the Board with Life series. So can you talk about like the different types of content that you made, at least in season 1?
Yeah, Casey, you always say that you've wanted to tell people about that.
I have always wanted to do that. Yeah, so the short version is we got super ambitious, and like we just want to keep making content because it's what we love to do, and the show was our baby, but at the same time we wanted to also provide like bite-sized content that people could watch and not have to commit to like a narrative. So it was just single closed off little stories or jokes or whatever, skits, and revolving around usually a single game, incorporating the theme of that game. And that was just for more casual viewers, and because friends of ours who have done web series based on video games and stuff like that have had a lot of success with those small short videos, and so since we'd never done either before, we honestly didn't know which people would latch onto, if either. So we felt like we should do both and have them support each other, and then as our interests grew, we started doing more types of things. Chris was interested in day-to-day industry news, so he started covering that. And Brittany and I are interested in documentaries, so we did one of those and have wanted to do another for a million years. And then of course Let's Plays and things like that, which are fun and generally do pretty well, but are a lot of work for our editor. So we just don't do a lot of them, don't do as many as we want, just because there's not enough time in the day.
Yeah, so yeah, go ahead, Donald.
Podcast, Casey. Casey did not mention the podcast that I do, because he doesn't appreciate it.
It's just I haven't been in an episode for so long.
That's true.
I forgot it existed.
We also have a podcast.
Yeah. So those of you guys that may not know of all the things they've done, some of the things that they just talked about that I'll embellish on that I really like. I do love those small bits. They're like 2 to 3 minutes long most of the time. There's two of my favorites are the bit on Jaipur, which my wife is not even a gamer, but she loves this game. I showed it to her last night, and she was laughing her head off. I mean, a non-gamer got that because she always tries to take the camels, right? So she loved that. I loved how you guys like pointed out that little panda camel that like nobody seems to know about, but it's like this weird, like mysterious figure in that game. So, I mean, that was awesome. And then my favorite of all time, I was telling Casey this when I got a chance to meet him at Board Game Geek Con last year, was my favorite's the Mr. Jack one, where he's playing with Brittany, and I won't spoil the end, but their bits are amazing. Yeah, Chris does the news every week that I watch it. If you're looking to get some scoops on what's up and coming, that's an awesome thing they do. And the podcast, they had a lot of things going on last year at the conventions. I think at the Board Game Geek Con, I listened to a couple of your episodes. They were kind of off the cuff. These were ones that weren't like super in the booth produced. These were live. These were intimate with people that were at the con, getting the pulse of the convention, and those were very enjoyable as well.
Yeah, those were enjoyable and awful for me because I couldn't be at the con. So I'm just like, and I'd gone the year before, so I'm hearing these podcasts and it's just like, yeah, that sounds fun.
Yeah, we set up this like meet me here at 3 a.m. every night rule at Gen Con, this previous Gen Con, and whoever we talked to who would show up at 3 a.m. was on this podcast where we'd all just sit in a circle, exhausted and in kind of like loopy moods, and just sort of talk about what it's like to pull, 16 hours of grimy con. It was, battle stories and stuff. It was really fun. I hope to do it again this year.
Yeah, that was fun. And don't sell yourself short on those playthroughs that you guys did. I watched the Spectre Ops one and was absolutely blown away. I mean, you guys, for anybody out there who hasn't seen them, they do like upwards of the highest quality of work. This is top-notch production value. I mean, you watch this playthrough of Spectre Ops, and there's these cutaways of like the wolf guy just like drooling and just hovering over people, and it was just, I remember as soon as I watched it, I dropped what I was doing, and I text these guys, I go, that was amazing, like the quality and the amount of time. I understand how much time that takes, my gosh. I mean, I just started doing some multi-camera playthroughs with just 3 cameras of some of the games, like, Raptor and Seven Wonders Duel and stuff, and it takes me 4 times as long to produce just a 15-minute of that than it does a normal review. So these guys take pride in their work. Their quality is amazing. If you haven't seen any of that stuff, check it out. But we're here tonight to talk about second season, the season 2 of this. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, you guys were able to go to Kickstarter, get some crowdfunding for that. Is that correct?
We did, and our friends on the internet were very generous, and we exceeded our goal. And at the same time, we got very ambitious about what we wanted to do, and sort of thought, well, we did the first season with no money, and that almost killed us and made us lose our jobs or become homeless or whatever, with all the time it took up. So now that we have like a small budget, we should make it 4 times more complicated. And so then it took 2 years, but the money really made a huge difference in what we were able to do. And I think people are really going to dig it. Even if you're a person who hated the first season, we would encourage you to check out the new one because we're so proud of it. And I honestly, sincerely believe that there are episodes of the new season that people will watch and be kind of like blown away that it exists, in the board game community, which it feels weird to say something so positive about, your own thing, but we just are so excited about it. It's just like I couldn't sleep last night.
yeah, and the Kickstarter money helped us achieve better what is our goal with all of this stuff, which is to make content that is of the quality that you don't have to qualify before you show it to anybody. Like ideally, it could stand next to things that have much larger budgets or are on more legit channels, things like that. And so with that money, all of it went toward either fulfillment or production. And so we got awesome new equipment and stuff like that allows us to make the show look just way better than it did before. And this also brings to mind, Donald kind of touched on it, but one of my main pieces of messaging leading up to this release of the new season is for new viewers, just don't worry about season 1. Like, there's no need to go back. we purposefully kind of like included a setup in this new season that would initiate new viewers while hopefully not boring, viewers that have seen the season. And if you can't get enough, by all means, go back and watch season 1. But it's kind of like Parks and Rec, where we were finding our way, and season 2 is going to be way, way stronger.
Well, here we go. Season 2 trailer for Bored with Life. All right, well, there you have it. There's a trailer for Season 2. Now, the first thing I noticed, well, maybe not the first thing, but one of the things I noticed when I watched this, I saw, maybe it's a cameo, maybe it's not. I saw Rich Sommer in there. What is that all about?
Yeah, Rich was one of our push goals we were lucky enough to get during the Kickstarter run. Leading up to our Kickstarter, we decided to maybe ask a few people that we thought might be interested in being the show, and he was certainly at the top of our list with a couple others of people that we were just dying to have because we love his work. And so we reached out to him, and he turns out to be the nicest person in the world. And he said that he would love to be included in the Kickstarter. So we got the push goal, and we put that money toward arranging his shoot and brought him in town for a weekend, and it was awesome. That dude is great. He makes everything better. I wish he was my dad.
Now that's amazing. So how many episodes is he on?
He's in 1 episode.
And what do you have any other special appearances from anybody else other than the normal amazing cast of Bored with Life?
Yeah. The first episode, which premieres on the 29th of February, actually stars Lisa Foyles, who, if you are a big UFC fan, you might know her face. If you follow video games, she has a video game channel that she does. She does a lot of YouTube videos. And if you're a certain kind of kid of a certain age from a certain time period, you might remember her from the Nickelodeon show All That, which figured very big, largely. It was basically like Saturday Night Live for kids. And it was just sort of a bunch of kids doing sketch comedy on Nickelodeon. She was on that when she was very young, and I grew up loving that show as a kid.
Yeah, me too.
So I had like a special sort of joy when she agreed to be on the show. And there's a little sneak preview for you guys on episode 1. She plays a documentarian. So, yeah.
And she also, with Rich, is the nicest person in the world.
She's spectacularly nice. All of our special guests that we got for this season, we have also Troy Baker agreed to be on the show. All of them, with the exception of probably my dad, were just a treat. Just lovely to work with, like amazing people. And every time went into it, we're like, okay, we're going to be more professional. Like, we don't know what these people are like. We're going to try to, like, play it cool and, like, blah, blah, blah. And by the end, everybody's just sort of joking around and being annoying like we always are on set. Because people, like, I think most people who do really well in their line of work are people who are pleasant to work with. And at least the ones we've had the pleasure of working with, it's always like, oh, you're great. Awesome. That makes it easy.
Well, I noticed, when you watch the season 2 trailer, if people hadn't seen you before, the first thing I noticed, obviously, is how I mentioned earlier, was the quality of this. And, it would be easy for somebody, well, not easy, but it would be easier for somebody to say, hey, let's make this really cool video thing about board games, because, hey, I like board games. Let's do a Kickstarter, and let's hire out some production professionals that really know what they're doing, and let's put this thing together. But the most unique thing about you guys, and what I think is your biggest strength, is obviously you're in the board game community and you're hardcore board gamers, but yet you guys are the ones doing this production aspect. Now, you guys, many of you have even met in film school. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's true. A lot of us met in film school. A lot of our core team, and so like Chris, Brittany, and I, we're all in film school together, and then, like, after college, Chris and I worked together, and we were working on a feature film that we wanted to shoot near Austin. And Donald, at the time, lived in Austin. And so an industry friend that we'd done some sound work with, hooked us up with him, and he did production sound on the feature film that we were shooting near Austin. So we spent, from not knowing him at all, we spent a whole week with him in this cabin, essentially shooting this movie with a zillion other people, and then walked away from that with just a new collaborator that unfortunately moved near to us, so we have to be around him all the time.
This is a true story. The first time I met Casey, it was very awkward. We're sitting on a porch quietly, just making small talk, and 2 dogs ran by, and we're at Casey's parents' house, and the dogs, and I asked, "Are these dogs your parents?" And for a moment, the apostrophe got lost, and Casey immediately was like, my parents aren't dogs, you idiot."
Those dogs aren't my parents, you moron.
That's what it was, and then we became friends.
That is funny.
So we are really fortunate. Like, everybody on the show works in the industry to a degree. And we have a lot of awesome behind-the-scenes people, like the stuff on the Let's Plays, like the Spectre Ops thing we did or the Dead of Winter thing we did, that sort of stuff. Our editor, Adam, who is this amazing editor, one of the best editors in Dallas, he's not on the show very much. He's kind of a behind-the-scenes guy, but like he does spectacular, insane work. Kellen, who's the one who introduced us both, is like an amazing sound guy. Who helps make the show, and Andrew, he does our music, and he's our assistant director. Like, we're really fortunate that we just happen to have a group of 12 friends who want to spend all their time making videos for fun when that's also our day jobs.
Right, and it's pretty lucky that everybody's kind of specialized, and all of our skill sets align to where we complement each other but also offset each other, and so it's a very lucky scenario.
Now, do all you guys have day jobs in addition to this, or is just some of you doing this full time?
No, it's full. Everybody has full-time jobs, and we just try to squeeze this in on weekends and evenings. And this season, the new season, we're doing sitcom-length episodes, and we're trying to achieve television sitcom levels of quality. And so it turns out doing that as a part-time job with a meager budget takes insane amounts of time, because we don't pay ourselves to make the show. The money just goes into the production. And it's grueling, but it's pretty cool when you actually turn around and look at it and go wow, that's crazy. We're able to do anything and not die like that because we just don't sleep.
So you said there's sitcom length. So the first one, as you mentioned, is Monday, February 29th, right? Mm-hmm. And how long is a typical episode, and how often will they be coming out?
Casey directed that episode, but why don't you tell me how long that is, Casey?
Yeah. Brittany and I directed that episode, and it was, I think it's 23 minutes, something like that. And so they range from, I don't know if we have any, I haven't seen the final links of some of the episodes, or at least taken note of them, but they're generally around anywhere from 18 to 24 minutes.
Yeah, I think they're actually, this season, I think there's maybe none of them shorter than 20 minutes. Unless.
Yeah, that's what was going to be my question. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I think even Chris's episodes were over 20 minutes.
Yeah,
Some of those scripts were like 4 pages long, so I don't know how he pulled it off.
Yeah, of all of us, Chris is the one who's notorious for having shorter scripts, which I don't know why I say notorious. That's probably a huge strength.
Which is weird because he likes long Euro games.
Yeah, that's true.
And weird because he won't shut up when you talk to him.
Well, that's the thing, is it would be extreme, except for most of the scripts, he'll just say, and then Donald and Casey and Brittany and Nikki improvise something funny here. Right. Which works really well, actually. His episodes turned out great. And it kind of makes me feel stupid.
Weird, because we all have different styles in that regard, and his kind of lends toward like a weird kind of improvisational mumblecore thing, which shouldn't work. But we tend to walk away from shoots going like, man, like that actually felt really good. That felt natural. Like, I bet that scene cuts together really well. And luckily, if I'm on camera and Chris is on camera, then Adam, our editor, also shoots it a lot of the time. And luckily, we can trust him to just get the coverage he needs since he's shooting for his own edit and be able to make something out of it.
And so at the end of these, it sounds like all you took turns directing, and then at the end of the credits, I'm sure it will tell us which person directed it.
Oh yeah, we'll have full credits at the end for everybody's roles. But yeah, Brittany and I wrote and directed this first episode, and then it changes pretty much every time.
Yeah.
So how many episodes are there, and how often will they be coming out?
They should be coming out every Monday. Unless something crazy happens, and I believe nothing crazy will happen because they're all shot and pretty put together at this point. We literally finished shooting yesterday for this season. We shot the last scene. We shot all day and got all the last little things done. So there's still a little bit of editing to do, some sound mixes, some music. But yeah, every Monday, and there are, I'm trying to remember, 7 episodes.
There's 7 episodes
in the principal season, and then at a later date we will do a holiday special, which has yet to be filmed.
Right, because we hate ourselves and we committed to a whole lot of stuff.
To like 4 feature films worth of filming.
Yeah, so I mean, what did you say? 7 episodes at 20 minutes a piece, coming out every Monday, and then. So what's your plans after this season, and where would you guys see yourselves being 5 years from now as Bored with Life?
Oh.
You can start with the first one. Where do you guys go after at the end of this season?
I think we're going to take a break. Because everybody is exhausted. Like we talk about it too much, and it probably sounds like complaining. And if you work in production, you'll understand that it's not. If you don't, though, it's just it does take a physical toll on you when you're doing production stuff for really long periods of time. And since we all, it just is exhausting. Not as exhausting as like real jobs that real people have, but. But it's really exhausting. So I think we're going to take probably a break and then sort of reassess what we're going to do. We have kids now. We didn't when we first started. People have like moved and bought houses. We all live like further apart. So figuring out what exactly we can do is going to be one of the things we're going to sit down and really hash out at the end of the season. Kind of depending on how well it does, we might get really overambitious or scale back in terms of what we want to do next. Like if only 5 people watch it, we might scale back. If 5 million people watch it, we might just keep being crazy. So we'll see how it goes.
So it sounds like the season 2 is those 7 episodes that are sitcom in feel and in length. And so some of the other things that you did earlier previously are not things that are at all in the season, where you're more focusing on the more longer form things. Is that correct?
Yeah, some of the stuff that's I mean, there's Let's Plays and stuff like that aren't necessarily part of the season that we may do after the season ends as well. I think we're planning on doing a few of those at least. And but it's so hard to know. You asked about a 5-year plan, and I know we used to make feature films together, and we had made a short film 2 years ago that Chris directed, I believe, and we did pretty well with that. Won some awards. It was really fun, and we've talked a bit about going back to something like that. There are pilots and stuff kind of bouncing around that we have thought about going and pitching and doing stuff like that. So it's hard to know where we'll be in 5 years, but probably still making something cool. Hopefully Bored with Life is part of that if people dig it.
Yeah, it just almost completely depends on the reception.
We're really counting on you, all right, Dan? Can you, if you can get the people to watch?
Oh man, you guys are bigger than me, so they're going to be watching you from subscribing to your channel because it's top notch. So what do you guys think? So last question before we get going, just a real quick off the cuff thing. So Casey, right now, not of all time, but right now, what's like the hottest little game that you've been playing recently that you're in love with?
You know, this is going to be just the worst answer because like when we're in production, I can't play games. I just don't have time. Like we don't see each other unless we're shooting.
What's your best game from 2015?
I loved Spectre Ops. I loved it. You know, that game's not necessarily for everybody. I don't know. I mean, like I don't know, but I absolutely loved it. Thematically, it's right up my alley. Mechanically, it's right up my alley. So that was my jam. And hopefully will continue to be if I can ever find time to play it again.
Do you like do you like the 5-player trader variant?
Sorry?
Do you like the 5-player sort of trader way to play the game?
Yes, I do. I do like that one. I prefer that. I prefer hard mode on that game over anything else.
Donna, what about you for 2015?
Oh, I'm not good with dates, but it's funny. This year I had a baby, and Chris and I, we all used to get together and play games, and then the show kind of threw a grenade in the middle of that, and so we got together and played less. Chris and I did get together and have a game night not long after the baby was born because Nikki and I were stir crazy, so that we wanted to play games. So he came over and we played some stuff that he picked up at BGG-Con, and I really fell in love with Blood Rage a lot, and I've really had a hankering to play that again. I've really gotten deep into D&D through our podcast, 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons. We've really been enjoying. We play that on our podcast, and I grew up loving Dungeons and Dragons, and like 5th edition has kind of reignited my enthusiasm for it. It's not the perfect RPG system, but I think it's the ideal RPG system for us and the way we like to sit around and just sort of have a structure in which to tell crazy stories. It's really fun. So those for me right now are the big things that I'm always kind of thinking about and have a hankering to play. But man, I'm feeling so out of touch. That's actually one of the things I'm really excited about after the show's over is getting to play board games again because it really the show, ironically, making a show about board games in all your spare time makes you not want to play board games when you're not. Even though you're not playing, you're pretending to play a board game. You still feel like you spent 12 hours doing it.
Well, have either of you guys played Time Stories? Because I know it sounds like you guys like the RPG stuff.
I haven't, but it sounds really cool. It's like you got heavy storytelling elements.
I'd be really interested to talk to you guys about that later after the season's over, and because it's that RPG meets board game realm. I think it's gonna be right up your alley. But hey guys, I want to thank you so much for coming on today. So for people that want to find you, obviously, what are the different outlets and the different places that they can find and interact with you for this upcoming season 2 and thereafter?
You can find us on Facebook and Twitter at I'm Bored with Life.
Unfortunately, we chose the name for a thing that was already taken on the internet. And then our YouTube channel is Moonrat Media, youtube.com/moonratmedia, because there's other stuff on there other than Bored with Life that no one cares about. But Moonrat Media is our YouTube channel. Those are probably the best ways to get in contact with us. We're fairly active on Twitter, and we're pretty bad at Facebook right now. We're trying to get better at it, and our YouTube channel has all of our video content that we've ever done, and it's
we're so good at this game that we don't even have a website because we're children. So
that's true.
That.
That's true. 3 years in, still no website. Website's not hard to get.
Because we don't know what we're doing.
Oh, baloney. You guys are professionals.
That's the one guy we don't have. Like,
That is the one guy we don't have.
everybody in our group of friends has a specialty, and we don't have the web guy.
There you go. So web people apply. Just tweet them at Boarded with Life, and they're looking for a web guy.
Yeah, salary's a big fat donut, so yeah, please apply with him.
Cool. Well, thanks. Hey, guys, I want to thank you so much for coming out. And for everybody, go check them out. I'm really excited to start seeing Season 2 coming up a week from tonight. So Monday 29th is the first day. And check them out, subscribe to them. And thank you guys for coming on and hanging out with me tonight.
Thank you so much for having us.
Well, I hope you enjoyed coming behind the scenes with us, just chatting and talking about their season and some of the things that went on there with some of the special actors and such. So check them out, Board with Life, for Season 2. This video was sponsored by Miniature Market's Review Corner. The Review Corner features podcasts, video, and written game reviews by gamers for gamers. Miniature Market, the online gaming superstore. Thousands of board games, discounted prices. Check them out at miniaturemarket.com.